There's no possible way this would happen. This is insane. This is the craziest thing that I've ever seen in an aviation-related movie. Who doesn't love a good action sequence in the sky? Well, today, we're not covering the great ones. We're looking at the worst aviation movie scenes. My name is Bill Allen. I'm a retired Navy test pilot, and I served in the military for 20 years. I've flown over 50 different aircraft, including jets, all the way to helicopters, and today, I'm gonna watch some bad movie fight scenes and tell you why they would never work. But before we get started, if you enjoy these videos and want more aviation content, like and subscribe and share this with a friend who also loves crazy, dumb aviation scenes from movies. We're gonna start with Con Air. This is actually one of my favorite movies. I really like it. But the final scene involves landing a large aircraft on the Las Vegas Strip. The portrayal of the maneuverability of the aircraft and everything that's going on in a highly populated area was widely criticized for its lack of realism. Let's jump in. I've got a couple-minute video and I'm just gonna talk through it.
And we're dropping too fast. Strip's where I'm gonna land. Only the word is crash. Should have shot him down over the open desert, Larkin.
All right, so the first thing that I notice is the left engine is not working. It's completely out, and the right engine has a bunch of smoke piling out of it. And the pilot here that's flying next to Nick Cage is basically saying, we are going to crash on the Las Vegas Strip. So they're already setting it up for exactly what's going to happen.
Casualties will be enormous. Strap in, ladies. We're going for a night out in Vegas.
He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world.
We're gonna die!
So one of the, obviously the cons in the back is like, shut up to Steve Buscemi, we're gonna die. He's exactly right. Like, all these people are absolutely going to die. There's no doubt about it. Let's see what happens next.
Can you make it to the airport?
No way, sir.
So they're being followed in by a couple helicopters that are obvious, police and other government officials. John Cusack is calling in right now for firefighters and emergency vehicles and things like this. This is actually very true. This is exactly what would happen if there was an emergency landing that was going to happen in any area, frankly. If it was desolate or a high density area like this is, we'd be calling in for some sort of support. So this is actually very real.
Anybody who knows CPR?
Okay, up to this point, I would actually say it's pretty realistic. They are buckling in, like preparing for crash. They're calling in for rescue. But at this point, they hit the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino's guitar, and it rips off a portion of the wing, like almost half the wing. So if you ripped off half the left wing, basic aerodynamics say that you're going to be producing way more lift on one side than the other, and the aircraft is effectively just going to roll over. There's no possible way, most likely, especially with the engine running and then flying like this, that it's going to glide the way that it looks like it's gliding right now. It's actually going to start to really roll, and the pilot is really going to have to work to maintain level flight.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Okay, so right here, he's got the gear down. He touches down on the Las Vegas Strip, which frankly is one of the most populated strips of road that I've ever seen. And so the ability of cars to get out of the way is probably unlikely, but he touches down, and at this point, in any other aircraft landing, emergency landing, you would be shutting the engines down on your approach right before touchdown. So it looks like they haven't done that and the engine's still running, but anywhere else you'd be shutting the engines down and turning off all the fuel to the engines during an emergency like this.
My God, Siren!
Little baby, baby.
Siren, wake up!
So far, this is pretty realistic and actually what would happen if the aircraft touched down. You start like hitting things, running into things, things blowing up, ripping off wings and stuff like that. Once that wing rips off though, the whole aircraft is gonna start tilting down, somewhat unlikely. can see right there that right engine is still spinning, so that prop is still going. I don't know if it's even likely if he didn't shut it down by now. It probably would have, you know, some of the fuel lines or something would have smashed and shut it down, but it's still spinning. All right, so now I know why they still need the right engine. The prop is gonna rip off and fly right in between them. Obviously, this is the most insane, unlikely thing to ever happen. And in the real world, though, a pilot would have shut that engine down long before this. The likelihood of them making it all the way down the strip, going into this, and I'm sure it's going to stop like right before they get to the edge of the casino. You're also not taking off your seatbelts and jumping out whenever you feel like it. This is very unrealistic at this point. All right, that's like the nail in the coffin right there. If you crash an airplane into a casino, there's not going to be a bunch of Vegas-style fireworks going off at the end. It is going to explode. There's so much fuel, oil, fire, like the very hot temperatures. These engines run at hundreds of degrees Celsius, 600, 700, 800 degrees Celsius. The whole thing's going to explode. You're not going to see fireworks at the end. So overall, interesting end to the movie. It created a lot of like Hollywood drama, but very unlikely that this would happen. If you're flying and you're a pilot, a lot of times early on you think, or if you've never flown an airplane before, you think that a road is actually a good place to do an emergency landing. It's one of the worst. There's always power lines, there's a bunch of signs, there's a lot of cars and other people on the road. It's actually very dangerous. Pretty much we learn very early on that like a golf course or a farmer's field or somewhere like that would be a better place to do an emergency landing if you lost an engine like this and couldn't maintain lift. So interesting, fun, but it's total garbage. Let's move on to the next one. The next movie we're going to look at is a movie called Executive Decision. I've actually never seen this movie, but it came out in 1996. It is a scene where a Boeing 747 is boarded mid-air by a spec ops team. And there's intense action. The feasibility of this operation, though, and accuracy of the portrayal were questioned by many aviation and military experts after the movie came out. I understand that this is a Steven Seagal movie. I've watched a lot of his movies, and they're pretty unbelievable. So let's see what this aviation scene is like.
Brett, you're next.
There he is.
Talk the bags. Hope there's a good movie on this flight.
Oh, and John Leguizamo's in it too. This is gonna be great.
Cappy, hold up. We lost the clip.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause it right here. What it looks like is happening is you've got what I would suspect is a hijacked airplane, and this is a spec ops team that's trying to board the aircraft. So they're trying to, there's a hostile takeover of the civilian aircraft, and they're coming in to save the day like Steven Seagal does in just about every movie he's in. Right here, it looks like it's some sort of like modified stealth fighter or bomber or something. This actually, to me, looks like a potentially designed around an F-117. This is not something that I have ever seen or heard of or done in my military career. So actually like some extension that connects to another aircraft, and you're flying in tight formation without moving at all. So I can see this aircraft is like moving around. I've flown a lot of formation in my career, and frankly, I can already tell you this is not possible. All right, there's the terrorist, so I think I was right.
Got it. Come on, you son of...
I see it went out. It's gotta be a short.
Okay, so apparently that clip he was looking for is a button that you press to show in the cockpit that there's some external seal or depressurization that's happening. So they opened the hatch, and then they had to block that so terrorists wouldn't know. And the pilot there of the civilian airliner is just playing along.
Why are we not climbing? Come on, old man, move it. Jeez, what the hell? Wind shear.
All right, the first thing, it just so happens that they hit a wind shear up at like 30 or 40,000 feet, I guess. Turbulence is a real thing that happens in flight, but I don't know, have you ever been on a flight that has immediately lost like 3,000 feet of altitude due to some turbulence? Typically it's just a little bumpy. You might even have some moderate turbulence, but it's rare that it will even kick off the autopilot or not maintain altitude plus or minus, 10 or 20 feet. This is obviously made for drama for the movies. It's going to throw these people around. I don't know what's going to happen, but someone's probably going to get hurt, or they're going to find out about them, or the jet's going to break off because of it. But that amount of nose down attitude, if this stealth fighter doesn't get knocked off of there, it's definitely, they would have separated long before that.
Oh, Cappy! Kite!
This looks like about 10,000 feet of altitude loss already.
3, 2, 0.
What the hell's going on?
We have to break off now. I can't hold the seal.
We need some help up here!
Gotta pull him up right.
Passing through 300. Run!
So I don't know if you heard that, but that's probably like 15 or 20 seconds, and they went from 32,000 feet to 30,000 feet. So that's 2,000 feet in about 15 seconds. So they're dropping at 8,000 feet per minute. That's a huge descent from a little bit of turbulence. Obviously, very unbelievable.
Why is he so goddamn heavy?
Jesus, they're climbing. I'm climbing with them.
Okay, so they've recovered from the wind shear that just probably dropped them 10,000 feet, and now they're climbing, and he's like, why are they so heavy? Well, I guess it's because they have a stealth fighter jet under them that they're pulling up too. And then he's climbing, and he's saying, we gotta be careful because we're gonna break the seal. Kurt Russell has now showed up on the scene, so this is very interesting. Kurt Russell and Steven Seagal, let's see what happens. Is that the guy from Airplane? I think that's the guy from Airplane flying the...
We're losing pressure on the pump.
The seals are going. The seals are going. Listen to me. The hatch has got to be closed now or we'll lose.
Okay, so the drama's increasing, the pump is starting to shake. It's like a little rubber seal that's happening up at 35 or 40,000 feet that two aircraft are flying with a rigid opening that people are climbing through. This does not exist. We do not have this in the military. This is absolutely insane. Definitely built for Hollywood. Let's see what happens to Kurt Russell.
Come on! Colonel, grab my hand!
I can't hold it. Close the hatch. Close the hatch. Lower the sleeve.
Listen to me! Someone has got to close the hatch now or we're all gonna die! Do it now!
We're losing pressure.
Colonel, we're not gonna make it! You are...
Whoa. All right, so it just broke away. That actually probably would happen if you were attached like that and it broke away like that. Depressurization can do a lot of just bad damage, potentially like that. It looked like Steven Seagal's body got thrown out of the fighter jet. So I might actually have to watch the rest of this because I don't know a single movie that Steven Seagal has ever been in where he dies. So he must have a secret parachute on where he's going to parachute down and be fine. But it looked like he just saved Kurt Russell's life by closing the hatch. So this is pretty wild. Let's see what they do. Well, it looks like the fighter jet, the military aircraft, didn't make it. So it's just started breaking apart. I think that's pretty unrealistic. Probably would have been able to fly it down from there, even though they would have never been in there in the first place. But it is a real sequence, though, of them ejecting. However, reaching your hand down and just pulling an ejection handle is not how it goes. There's a very specific hand motion that has to happen, interlocked fingers, elbows in, those kind of things, because you can really hurt yourself with damage. But it would probably have an ejection seat, and the handle would look somewhat similar to that. So I've never seen that movie, nor do I really plan to watch it, although I am going to try to see if Steven Seagal made it after that and what happened. So apparently Kurt Russell must be the headliner there, and Steven Seagal is just a supporting role, which I didn't know existed. Let's jump into the next one. This one was pretty crazy. In 2012, a movie called Flight came out, which you may have seen. It had Denzel Washington. It received critical acclaim for its portrayal of addiction and personal redemption, and the scene depicting an inverted passenger plane and this unconventional crash landing maneuver that happened faced massive criticism and complete implausibility and defying the laws of aerodynamics. So we're going to jump in. I've actually never seen this movie, so I'm going to watch it and just kind of see what I think about what happens with this inverted flight. I have done plenty of inverted flying in my career in fully aerobatic aircraft, so I do have a lot of experience in that. So let's see what it looks like. Okay, so this clip already starts out with what looks like a high rate of descent, very fast. So what it seems like is these passengers are experiencing some higher G, like they're having trouble lifting their arm up and getting out of their seats and things like that. So a lot of acceleration, and it looks like they're passing through here on the altimeter 9,000 feet.
So see you going below 10,000. How are you doing?
Yeah, there we go.
Good. Margaret, this red lever right there next to my seat. It says manual control. You see it?
Yeah.
Okay, on the count of 3, I want you to pull it up, turn it clockwise, push it back down. Ready? 1, 2, 3. It's okay, it's okay. Yeah, come on.
The way they're hanging in the straps right here and the nose attitude of the aircraft from what it looks like, they would be descending at probably, 10 to 15,000 feet per minute. And he was at 9,000 feet. So what it looks like to me is, as extreme as this is, it would be hard to pull back if you got into this attitude. It would be really hard to overcome aerodynamic forces on the aircraft, but they would probably crash on the ground within 30 to 45 seconds at this point from what it looks like. So I have no idea what's going on before this scene, but he's starting to get some control of the plane, and then it totally like throws the controls forward again. So I actually don't know what's happening. This seems somewhat unrealistic unless there's some sort of AFCS, like a trim runaway or something like that, some sort of automatic flight control system malfunction. Let's keep watching.
Oh Lord, we're coming out of 7,000. I see nothing but houses. Evan, listen to me. When I say I want you to retract the flaps, retract the gear, trim us nose.
So if they have the flaps and the gear down right now, they probably would have potentially been ripped off. I mean, the flaps and gear are really tested at lower speeds. So every aircraft has a max speed that you can lower the flaps and gear and put them down. If they're dropping this fast, they're going fast. 250, 300 knots possibly, from what it looks like to me. And when you're nose down like this, you're going, I have no idea why they would have the gear and the flaps down. It doesn't look like, if you're up at 10 or 15,000 feet, unless you're doing some sort of practice maneuvers, you don't have those down. Those come down around a possible landing site.
Down, okay? But everything's gonna be opposite, so make sure you trim us nose down. Hey, trim down, what are you gonna do? Margaret, when I tell you I want you to push these forward, full power, full throttle, can you do that? Yeah. Okay, when I tell you...
Wait, sir, what are we doing? Why would I trim down?
We're gonna roll it, okay?
What do you mean, roll it?
We gotta do something to stop this guy. Margaret, what's your son?
So he's in a descent, and it sounds like he's going to roll the aircraft in a turn. So I'm interested, he's gonna increase the power. He's asking the flight attendant to increase the power. What the flight attendant is doing up in the cockpit, I'm not sure, but it looks like she's helping. And then they're gonna bring the gear and the flaps up, which we'll see what happens.
Here we go, I've got control. Oh, Lord Jesus! All right, Evans, flaps. Flat! Speed brakes. Speed brake! Margaret, power!
They're at 980 feet. 980 feet, doing 220 knots. And he just asked for the speed brake and the flaps to come down. He is inverted about 20 degrees in a rolled in, starting to go completely inverted here to slow down his descent. If you are nose down like this and you go inverted, you are still going to be nose down crashing into the ground. So you actually have to like roll and push. So he's going to have to push. So if his flight controls are stuck forward, which is what I'm guessing is happening here, maybe he's saying that, okay, well, I can't pull back, but I can, it will push me forward. So let's see what happens as they roll inverted. You can already see they're getting close to 0G and possibly negative G.
Gear up.
That went to 700 feet and a rate of descent of about 3,000 feet per minute. No possible way it would happen. So the flight attendant now is on the roof of the plane, the ceiling of the plane, so they are fully inverted. She was passed out, she has now fallen to the bottom, and everybody's hanging in their straps. It's very hard to fly an aircraft perfectly inverted and maintain that. And in fact, an aircraft like this, and most aircraft are not designed to go inverted. What happens is all the oil drains out of all the gearboxes. Pretty much all of the mechanical and hydraulic equipment is not designed to go 0G for long periods of time. If you're flying an aerobatic aircraft, it's designed to go inverted, so there's actually a pump that's on the top of your gearboxes and the top of your oil tanks and things like that, so it actually can give you some time that it will pump oil and fuel and things like that in throughout the system. So typically you have a limit, an inverted limit, and not typically, you always have an inverted limit. It's usually somewhere between 10 seconds and maybe a minute, but 30 seconds, like flying inverted for 2-3 seconds, like inverted is negative 1G. It is the most uncomfortable thing. 0G of just like going onto a roller coaster like this and feeling light in your straps, that is comfortable compared to fully inverted flying. We had to do it as a flight instructor for me down in Pensacola in the T6 and the T34. I had to go out and demo it for a couple seconds, and holding it for a few seconds is very challenging, very uncomfortable, and this would not, there's no possible way this would happen. This is insane. This is the craziest thing that I've ever seen, probably in a aviation related movie. And it's still flying. So yeah, that whole aircraft would have ripped apart. All the engines would have gone into flames. Fire, shut off, everything. No possible way that would happen. And in fact, you can't maintain that for longer than a second or so. And nor would they have arrested that insane rate of descent of 10, 15,000 feet per minute. So, well, there's 3 pretty wild aviation movies for you that, frankly, it's all just a bunch of. There were a couple things in there that were actually real or that looked real that I could point out to you and show you like where they were and proof in the case of flight that it wasn't real. We can make fun of movies like these all day, but at the end of the day, they're just movies. They're made to entertain us. They're Hollywood, and real heroes do exist, but they're not the people we're seeing on the screen. They're the people that are out there, like the military, even civilian aviators. I've done some videos on Sully and some of the other amazing civilian aviators as well. So I hope you guys follow along. If you like this, let me know and tell me about some other movies that you're not sure if it's real or not, and I'll do a video on them. I'll see you guys on the next one.